بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد. قال الله تعالى في كتاب الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا أوفوا بالعقود. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ma'adah, first ayat, O you who believe, fulfill your contracts. We talked about this a little bit last night. First contract we actually have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when we say Shahadatain, or we come to that realization that we believe in Allah, we believe in Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we have to fulfill the obligation. Atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasul wa ulul amr minkum. Allah says, obey Allah, obey the Prophet, and those in charge and authority amongst you, meaning Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So we have this covenant that we have made with Ghadir, and kuntum Allah fahada aliyun mawla. We have made this covenant that we hold to the walayat of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, we hold to Nubuwwah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and we have to uphold this duty that we have between us and Allah. Haqq Allah, the rights we owe Allah, the wajibat. We shouldn't be like this person as mentioned that was in the storm. In the Quran it mentions there's a person in the storm on the boat. All the waves are coming around him. And then he calls on Allah sincerely, says, Ya Allah, help me in this situation. I will be sincere to you. But when he got to the land, he forgot about his promise to Allah. We cannot be like this. We have to hold our promise that we have made to Allah, fulfill our obligations. Just like this month of Ramadan, we are doing good all month. And we are doing all amal, and we are doing our wajibat, and we are fulfilling our obligations. But we made it to the end of the month. We shouldn't go back to how we were before. We should always keep progressing. Even if we were good before, but we are better now, inshallah, because we have been doing getting ourselves accustomed to many things. Reading Quran, maybe doing extra salat, coming to send. The rights is fulfilling the trust that we have to our brother in faith. The Imam, he says, Imam Bakr alayhi salam, he says, the faithful believers are brothers of each other. They should not insult each other, deprive each other, or mistrust each other. So we see that a quality of being a believer, a quality of brotherhood is trusting each other. We should never assume the worst of each other. A lot of times we maybe have went through a lot of bad things in life, and maybe we had bad experience with business partner, or sometimes other dealings with other believers, and we don't trust the other person. We have trust issues because someone betrayed us before. But Imam says we shouldn't look at the worst of each other. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, when the community is made of really good, honest people, forming a bad opinion about them without seeing anything bad from them is a great injustice. So if you see the people, the community is good, we have to have a good opinion about our brothers unless we learn otherwise. We shouldn't just mistrust them automatically. If we do that, Imam says it's a great injustice to each other. Also, on the other side, he says if we're in a corrupt society and we form a good opinion about someone and trust them, then maybe we are doing harm to ourselves. So it depends on the other folk, where we are. We look here, we have a good community in this community. But maybe we are outside, and to trust everyone outside, that maybe doesn't believe in Allah, doesn't believe in Prophet, they don't have the akhlaq, then this could cause harm for us. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, he says, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
The distrust should never control you, because it will destroy any association between others and you. We have to trust each other. We have to trust that we are wishing the best for each other, that we are doing the best for the community. And everyone in here, we should have no problems with each other, no mistrust of each other. We have to trust each other like we are family, like we are close, we are brothers. We cannot let mistrust take over us and start making doubts, start wondering, what are they doing? What is this person doing? What is that person doing? This will tear apart community. If we don't have this quality of being trustworthy, it's actually one of the greater sins and one of those sins that block our prayer from being accepted. Our fourth Imam, he says, and from the sins which cause the rejection of Salat are hypocrisy with the religious brothers. We mentioned this last night. How come a lot of time our prayer are rejected? Our sixth Imam, he says, whoever has these three characteristics, they are munafiq. Even if they pray and they fast. Even they're doing these wajibat. If they have these three things, they are munafiq. One who lies when he speaks. The other one, he breaks his promise. And the other one, he violates the trust. You trust him with something, he breaks the trust. This is signs of hypocrite, even though they pray or fast. So we see that violating the trust is one of these things, is sign of hypocrisy. And it also will bring about the destruction of our life. If we do not, if we're not trustworthy with each other, it can bring about destruction. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. He said, if one of these four things makes its appearance in the house will be deprived from prosperity and blessing, and it will ruin the house. The first one is breaking the trust, breach of trust. The second is theft. Third is drinking wine. And the fourth is immorality. He also said that keeping of the trust brings about earning, and treachery brings about poverty. So we see that the Imam gives us secret to life to be prosperous, to be successful, is to uphold our trust. A lot of time we want to get more sustenance. This is one of the ways, is to uphold the trust. Think about it for a moment. If you do business and you're untrustworthy, everyone will want to stay away from them. They said, don't go to that shop because that shop owner, he's going to cheat you out of your money, and you'll get a reputation and people will stay away. This will, as we see, will bring loss in money. But then you have the person who's honest, who's trustworthy, who honors his covenants, fulfills his trust, all these things. He'll get a good reputation that his business is good, and he will attract many people, and they will all want to go there. Whereas the other person, everyone is afraid to go to that shop. And it will take that person a long time to rebuild the reputation of being trustworthy. A lot of times, we do one thing, people remember for the rest of your life. 30 years later, they say, oh, that's the brother that did so-and-so to so-and-so. He cheated that guy. Remember him from 30 years ago? I mean, it's been so long, but they hold it forever. So we have to be trustworthy. This is good to build the community. How can we have community if we don't trust each other? If everyone mistrusts each other, oh, what are their intentions? What are they doing? What are they doing that for? What are they doing this? Oh, we start making our own opinion about their niyyah, but we don't know their niyyah. So we have to trust each other. Allah says, successful are the believers, those who keep up their trust and their covenants. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Ya Kumail, you should realize that and know that we do not permit anyone to breach the trust of anybody else. Whoever says that I have permitted to breach the trust is wrong and sinful, and his result will be the hellfire. I swear that I heard the Prophet say to me frequently, 1 hour before his death, Ya Abul Hassan, give back what you are entrusted with to its owner, whether he is pious or he is sinful, whether it is big or whether it is small. Even if it's the thread of a needle, to give it back. Just some small thread or a needle, to give it back to the owner. And he repeated this 3 times each time he said this thing. We have to be trustworthy. We have to think about these things. For example, someone may take a turba from center and they bring it home. What the big deal is turba? They have a lot of turba in the center, but the turba belongs to the center. We have to bring it back to the center. It belongs here. Just like the Prophet is saying, the trust that we are given, even if it's small like a needle or a thread, to give it back. he emphasized it on his deathbed, so it's not something very light. We have to honor the trust, even if it's small, because it's the principle of honoring the trust. It doesn't matter if the thing is big or small, it's the principle of that we need to honor this covenant that we have made with each other. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, if a person has considered you to be trustworthy and he has entrusted something to you, you should return it in the perfect condition. And if a person has committed breach of trust with you and they betrayed you, you shouldn't betray them. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So if a person honors you with giving you a trust of something, it means they're taking a chance on you. That they trust you. They said, you'll take care of my stuff. He said, don't commit breach of trust with a person who has committed the breach of trust with you, because in that case, you will be just like them. A lot of time in the oppressed to becoming the oppressor. Someone backbited, did a ghiba on us, backbiting. They told one person in backbiting against us, we find out about it. We are oppressed. We're madloom in that case. They said something. So what do? We get angry. We don't go tell one other person about them. We go and we gather all the group of people and get in the center of the square and grab the microphone and we tell everybody as far and wide as we can see all bad things about this person. He told one person about you, but you have now told 10, 20 people with that. We are better than that. We have to remember that we are followers of Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So we have to follow their example. The Imam, he says, Allah never appointed anyone to prophethood unless he was honest and he was trustworthy. We must return what we are entrusted with to its owner, whether he is good or he is bad. It doesn't matter in this case. And we see this in the example of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he was called Al-Amin, the trustworthy. Everyone trusted him. Even the people who didn't believe in Islam, the people who didn't like the Prophet, they still trusted him. So we have to implement this and be trustworthy in our life. One time this shepherd, he was seeing the Prophet, and they both, okay, sheep will graze in this place. So the guy says, I went there the next day. I found the Prophet there, but he's not letting any of his sheep, they're not letting them eat. And he said, how come you were here before me? You could have went and allowed your sheep to graze in this field. He said, no, we made an agreement that we will meet here and we'll let our sheep graze together. So I will not let my sheep graze in this field and eat before you get here. And this is how, to the minute detail we have from Rasulullah. So, a lot of us, we have meetings, for example. We tell someone, I'm going to be here at 7 o'clock. But then we don't honor the time. We don't honor the meeting. If we honor this, we should show up on time. We should not have people waiting for us or this type of thing. If we say we're going to meet you at this time, we have to be, meeting at this time to the best of our ability. We shouldn't give, the casual inshallah. The inshallah, we have two types. We have like haqiqa and majazi, like the real one. It means, yeah, definitely we're going to do. We have the other ones like, yeah, I don't think so, but I'm just going to tell you, inshallah, and we'll show up. But don't count on it. Don't count me there, but inshallah. And we have to be careful, especially with the children. Because a lot of times we tell the children, inshallah, inshallah, but we know we don't mean it. We know we're not going to put any effort into that thing, inshallah, inshallah, and then let them go. Over time, this can develop something bad in them. Then they start to think, Allah doesn't will anything. Every time you say inshallah, it never happens. I never want to say inshallah. And they start mistrust Allah. And it's a wrong idea, but this is how the kids are thinking. So when we tell our kids, inshallah, we need to do our best. Put our best effort forward and try to make it happen, bi'idhnillah. And if it doesn't, then we can say, this is what we say, inshallah, for. But the kids, they see your effort and they see that we tried. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
When it comes down to this trust between people, it doesn't matter whether they are mu'min or they are kafir. They're believer or disbeliever. It doesn't matter. Our fifth Imam, he says, Allah didn't give any superiority in these three cases to a mu'min or a kafir. First, that we give what we have been entrusted with to look after, we give it back to them, whether it's mu'min or kafir. When we fulfill our oath, if we gave an oath to a person, we have to fulfill the oath, whether they are mu'min or they are kafir. And doing good to the parents. We have to do good to our parents, whether they are mu'min or they are kafir. So, regardless of the person's faith, whatever they believe, we have to keep our word. We can't take advantage of a person just because they are non-Muslim. And say, okay, they don't believe in Islam, we can cheat that one, but the mu'min, we're going to do good by him. We cannot do this. It doesn't matter in these things. And we have to remember that our actions, maybe, people should learn about Islam from Quran. And they should learn about Islam from Riwayat. They should learn about Islam from the books and what the teachings actually say. But unfortunately, this is not the way it goes in society. People look at the Muslim. So when they see the Muslim, they say that is Islam. So if a Muslim is cheating in his business, he's not giving, he's taking advantage of the non-Muslims, he's doing bad things with them, not fulfilling their oath, all of these things, they say this is what Islam is. This is what the Muslims do. They're not known for being good. They only cheat and lie and this, na'udhu billah. But just say the case, if this happens. In that case, those people will be guilty of driving people away from Islam because of their actions. And we have to remember to follow Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and bring them close by what we do. A lot of time we do things and we think no one is watching. Well, people are watching and they are taking notice. And they say either those Muslims are really good people and they will help you with anything they have. They will go all out of their way for you, even more than my own family, for example. Or they will say, na'udhu billah, they are bad, they are lying, they are cheating, they are taking advantage. Don't go to them, go to other place, and these type of things. I've seen it before. Muslims want to do business. They say, I cannot do business with the other brothers in the community because it is bad and it will end bad. And we had bad experience before. I go to do business with a non-Muslim because they will treat me fair. Na'udhu billah, astaghfirullah. What is this? We have to do good with each other. To show emphasis on this, we'll give a couple of riwayat. One from Imam Sajjad, Imam Bakr, Imam Sadiq. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam Sajjad says, by he who has sent Muhammad as a prophet of truth. So they are swearing by oath, which means it's whatever comes next is very important. Even if the killer of my father, the one who killed Hussein ibn Ali, entrusts me with the sword that he killed my father with, I will surely give it back to him. Imam Bakr alayhi salam, abide by piety, diligence, honesty, fulfillment of the trust of the charitable as well as the sinful. If the killer of Ali ibn Abi Talib gives me a trust of something, I will keep it for him. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, you should know I will fulfill the trust even if the killer of Ali ibn Abi Talib deposits something with me or he asks me advice or some counsel, I will give it to him. Return whatever you are entrusted with to its owner, even if the owner is the murderer of Imam Hussein. Imagine. He says, no one should be wronged no one should be regarded as trustworthy if he does not fulfill these three things. This is what we mentioned last night. The one who is trustworthy. How do we tell who is trustworthy or not? Or if we are trustworthy or not? He says they keep these things safe. Funds, money. If someone gives you money, you keep it for them and you give it back to them as they gave it to you. We don't go to the Target or the Walmart and, buy things with the money and say, oh, I'll pay you later. No. Guarding their secrets and their honor. The Imam gave us this criteria to know who is trustworthy and who is not. So when we are dealing with people's things, we have to keep gives us something to hold, to really guard that thing. Don't let it get messed up. Keep it in a nice place, keep it safe, and give it back to them the way they gave it to you. You don't want to give someone something. For example, you give someone a book to hold it and they give it back to you, but now the cover is ripped and the pages are torn and other things happen to this book and they didn't take care of it. You would be upset. So you should, the same thing, you give someone your car, maybe, and they make a scratch on your car and they blow the tire and then they give it back and they say, oh, here you go, here's your car. You know, like, what happened? You were supposed to take care of it. We have to honor the trust. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. The last thing is what we mentioned last night about keeping the secrets of your brother. This is also a type of trust. We've covered this already. Lastly is the honor of our believers between each other. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, a believer's respect, a believer's honor is much more than that of the Holy Kaaba. The honor between each other. We should never be dishonorable towards each other, like humiliate the other one in front of the other one. It's okay, we joke and we're fair with each other, but sometimes it can cross the line. And we should not make indecent or bad jokes, to lower their status or make them seem weak in the eyes of people. We end with this story. One time, this person is walking with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa alihi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So someone said something bad. Just imagine, Prophet is walking with his companions, a couple of them. One of them says something bad about the other one, but he's not there in front of the Prophet. He said, oh, so-and-so said, I don't like this, and says something bad. The other one, he stood up for his brother that wasn't there. He defended him in his absence. The Prophet got very pleased and he said, whoever defends the honor of his brother, that act that he did, it will shield him from the hellfire. It will protect him from hellfire. So we have to honor the trust. We have a friendship and a brotherhood between each other. When we are absent and someone else says something bad about that one, we should stand up for them and honor that friendship and brotherhood that we have between each other and defend the other brother and say, I don't think you should talk about him like that. Maybe you take that up with him, but I don't want to talk about these things. I only know good from him, and don't tell me these things. So we should defend them, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen our bond of brotherhood, strengthen our community, allow us to have mutual love and respect for each other, to trust each other, to become more trustworthy and become brothers in the true sense under the banner of Muhammad wa ala Muhammad alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. Oh Allah, my Lord, forgive us and those brothers who went before us in faith, and remove any ill will that we have in our hearts for those who believe. Verily, you are the compassionate and the merciful. Dua Faraj. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا محافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكناه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.